All right, I'm back. So, competitive analysis. I just finished showing you how to look at PPC inefficiencies, but now I'm going to show you how to look at your competitors, which will show some of that PPC stuff I found in a different way, but also how to determine who should you be going after. Let's go. So I have a tree map here, and I've created tons of videos that show you how to create tree maps and things like that. So if I'm skipping any steps, tell me in the comments, and I can record more like instructional videos. But today, I think I covered most of these in the past videos, so I'm going to show you how to use them. Okay, so now we're going to look at competitors. So you can see I've got Google, YouTube, etc. I don't really worry about those folks. What I tend to look more for are agencies or people who are bloggers or writing about the content that I care about. So what I've got here is a tree map. I'm grouped by domain, and the size of the box is based on how many words they rank for in the top 20. Here I've got the keyword, how much I spent on paid, where they rank, and then where Seer ranks for those words. Then I'm looking at their URLs and how many unique keywords they're ranking to that URL. So nobody really goes to page 2 very much. So maybe when I'm looking at my competitors, I want to see where people are able to break into the top 5 or top 10. Here's how you do it. You put in 5, and now all of a sudden your boxes have changed a bit. Now, one of the things is you start losing some of the granularity down here where it's just one-off websites ranking, OpenBridge, and I saw a .gov there and some other stuff. So one of the things you can do is you can say within this visual, domain, instead of using the basic filter, use the top N and say, show me the top, 50 by keyword. So then I'm just going to drag keyword in. Let me grab it from here. Count of keyword. And now I've gotten rid of a lot of the noise to only look at my top 50, which sometimes you want to dig deep in the long tail, sometimes you don't. This is an instance where you probably don't want to. All right, so now I can see Google. Makes sense because I'm going after mostly Google 360 kind of words. But Quora ranks for 63 words in the top 5. So I click on that. And we're not writing a lot of content around cost and pricing words. We're just decision we're making. So I look at this and I go, well, I'm not going to take this to my manager because it doesn't make sense. What I can see is an interesting best chat API integration for Iconic. I can take that to my PPC team and say, wait, let's get rid of somehow we got matched to that word, surprisingly. So let's get rid of it. But most of the stuff for Quora is around what it costs. And you can see that this one URL is ranking for 46 of those words. This URL is ranking for 5. This one's about cost. But don't quit there. You're a consultant. You've brought together larger data sets. So you've got to remember, you can advertise on Quora. So while you might not want to write pricing content, you might want to see if those clicks are cheaper than paying for pricing keywords over on Google where I'm dropping 14, 15 bucks a click. So now I'm looking at Blast AM. And what you can see here are I can look at, I'm sorting by cost, so I can see where am I spending the most money. But what's also interesting is where there are rankings that they have for pricing, and cost, where we're not ranking well because we're not really writing that content. So outside of cost keywords, what else are they writing? So it's good to be able to see, well, wow, this page is ranking for 43 unique keywords. And here are all those keywords. They're pricing and cost keywords, don't want them. So then I go back to their overall, and then I find another one, Google versus Adobe, and I click on that, and I can say, all right, well, I spent some money on these Adobe words, which we had found earlier, and Seer's ranking, but not in the top 10 for any of these words. So then I got to go back to my team and say, are these the kind of keywords you want to target? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But if they say, yeah, we want to go after people looking to compare us to Adobe or compare Google to Adobe, then I go, great. Here's the page that's ranking for the most words in that area. So then what I can do is I can click on this and I can say copy that URL. Thank you so much, Power BI. Thank you. The ability to copy the value was huge for us on the SEO side. And also you can make those URLs clickable if you put back in the HTTP and change the data type to URL. So let's look at that Blast AM page. So now when I look at this, I'm able to talk to my team about what kind of content they should produce. I can look at what this has done, right? I could drop this into a tool like BuzzSumo, see who shared it, so I know how to build an audience to target this content to and paid. A lot of cool stuff that I can do. Another thing you could do is look at the date. All right, so it's getting a little bit old. Maybe I'll put it on my file that if this isn't updated by April 2019, enough has changed on the platforms that maybe this content won't be applicable anymore. But then if we're also looking for more enterprise companies, they use language like ETL, so when I click on that, it's, oh, okay, so they're ranking in the top for data warehouse support keywords, and we're not writing about that. All right, cool. Now, mind you, I didn't spend a ton of money on it, don't have a lot of conversions or have no conversions on, not a lot of clicks, but this is the kind of insight and intel I'm taking back to my content team to determine what kind of content might we want to write based on our competitors. And then we got to be honest. Is there a chance that we could write this content better? Has that content gotten old or antiquated? And as you can see, I can just go from site to site to site, pulling out these insights. So what gets really interesting is when you start looking at like a site like Neil Patel. So Blast AM and Lunametrics are highly respected agencies. Love your blogs, love the work you guys do. It taught me so much when I was coming up. The Regex guide on Lunametrics is still one of my favorites. So when I look at like Neil Patel's site, I go, well, he's more writing content like a search engine watcher, search engine land would, more of a less consulting-ish, but more kind of publication-ish. So I can see all these different words. I can see that I spent some real money on it. I can see that I did convert on some of those words, like how to use Google Analytics 360. And I can kind of look over here at, wow, a lot of these words I might not be ranking very well for. So it tells me an area that I might want to start to bring to the team to write content on. Then you can also look at like Wikipedia. And you can see, well, what kind of pages are Wikipedia ranking for in Google Analytics 360 Suite? Great. Here are the kind of words they're ranking for. Wikipedia tells me top of funnel. People are looking for education content. This might be helpful. Here's another thing that's interesting. When you start looking at those smaller competitors, not the big ones you already know about, but the online-metrics.coms of the world, you start finding things like, implementation plan, support, audit, that we, as you can see over here, are not really writing any content for. So it looks like they have a tool build. They talk about free support. So maybe we do some kind of crazy free support for a freaking, for 5 hours a month, we just do free support for anybody on a Google Live Hangout. I don't know, right? But these are the kind of ideas that you start to stew on and bring up to bring to a marketing manager to say, do we want to write this content? Are there things like this that we can do? When I look at Clutch, you can see a lot of it that they're ranking for is around agencies and whatnot, and that's not really our thing. But capabilities, wait a second. Clutch is ranking for Google Analytics 360 capabilities, and I'm ranked number 9? Or features, they're 4 and I'm 9? Maybe I can improve my content to better answer that question. But then you find outliers like Glassdoor. So when you find Glassdoor, you're like, oh, these words must have some kind of job intention, right? Because Google's ranking Glassdoor in the top 5 for a reason. So then you can start to find more negatives by going into that way and pruning back some of those one-off searches you might be getting clicks on and spending a lot of your budget on. And I think I'm going to leave it there. This is kind of how to go about looking at the tree map when you do a competitive analysis. Like I said, if you're thinking to yourself, Will, I need to know how you built this. Let us know in the comments. If people upvote it, I'll just record another video or have somebody on the team record a video that shows you kind of how to even build this in the first place if the other videos we have aren't sufficient. Thanks.